Welcome back, everyone, to the Impossible Puzzles Show. It's episode 179. Good Lord, we are still standing. Oh, my God, amazing. We have with us today William Abraham, two first names, one interesting, one Jewish sounding. Who knows where this will go? Take it away and tell us all about yourself. Oy vey shmir.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're just jumping right into it, aren't we? I like it. So,
or we could tone it down a bit, whatever you want. The guest is in charge.
It's all good. I don't know. I guess it's usually a lot easier for me if there's a question than just take it away. But you know, it's the Impossible Puzzle Show, and I've actually been watching a little bit of your other pod episodes, and you have some really awesome people in there. And it's funny because some of them seems like some of them are working on some type of a puzzle that, you know, for kids or for adults or for whoever. And this, I'm kind of working on a little bit different type of an impossible puzzle. It's helping business owners actually get their time back and actually scale their company and doing it in a way that's super simple and easy. And it takes years off of, I say it takes years off of their life, but the idea is, and this is, it's not so much that it makes it impossible, but the idea is that they're able to actually take a 30-day vacation without their phone blowing up with interruptions.
Fascinating. Fascinating. I could tell you it's miles different when there's like physical objects, puzzles or game toy board game thingies. It's always, life is simpler when there's like physical objects, and you just have to, you know, figure out how many objects go where. You are dealing with a different kind of puzzle, if you will, which is human beings, which are not computers, which are not plastic blocks.
All sizes don't fit everything.
Would you say that what you do is impossible?
Well, I don't know if it's impossible. I mean, there's a lot of business owners who have figured that puzzle out in their business, and so I could easily say it is possible, but it takes for some business owners, it just takes a little bit more, either a little bit more time to really see what is possible from the impossible, or what seems impossible, to have that eureka moment of, hey, this can be a lot easier than I'm making it.
Interesting. And okay, so much, many directions to go here. I love how you said, you know, maybe we could have question and answer like a normal interview, not just some mad scientist basement crazy situation. But I'm very curious, for your artificially generated background, how did you get it so well structured that there should be so many books organized so way? Was that built into Google Meet, or how did you get that artificially generated? Because surely that's no one has so many books and behind them. What's going on here? Are you know, Sigmund Freud over here?
That's actually my library, and some of my wife's library back there too. She's a nurse, so there's some nursing stuff there. There's some travel books. There's some science fiction books from when I was much younger that I hope someday I'll pass on to my kids. And there's some religious books and stuff like that in the background also. So it's a little bit of everything. You call it a hodgepodge, whatever, but that's actually my actual background behind me. So
you are reading books. You are an avid. What is that allowed in this world of AI, and everyone's brain is falling, TikToking, and what are you reading about these days? What is engulfing your heart in the literary word?
Well, lately, let's see, I don't think I have the book right here on hand, but one of the you know, I do like to spend some of my time on some of the apps that helps me create ideas for posts and things like that, and sending out emails to other people. So I do my share of that, probably a little bit too much, I have to guiltily admit. One of the books I'm reading right now is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And that's basically the whole entire idea behind how I'm helping business owners to get out of the day-to-day of their businesses and free up their time and be able to take that 30-day vacation. And so that talks about how you identify the things that are, I mean, if I could put a plug in for his book.
Plug.
Yeah.
We're going to focus on your business today, and
Yeah,
we're not going to go on a million tangents.
Yeah. So the idea is that even the most successful people in life have people who are doing a lot of their day-to-day type of things for them, whether it's going through their emails and scheduling people onto their calendar, to doing their social media, or maybe they need an AI expert to come in and help automate everything. The idea is that they hire the person not just for a project or two, but they actually are involved in the company as if they're an employee. They just might not live next door or down the road or even in the same city or state or whatever country. So it's all about finding where the talent is and getting them on board in the right place and helping them to giving them the authority to make decisions up to a certain point, if that's what the case is, and helps free up the business owner's time.
Running a business is a craziness regarding there's always more to do. There's always there's only the 24 hours a day, 168 hours a week, but there's always 1,000 hours of possible things to do. How does one set the schedule and stick to it?
That's the tough part that a lot of business owners are trying to figure out. When it comes to setting the schedule, I mean, there's some business owners where they get up at 6:30 in the morning and they're looking through their emails and it takes them an hour.
That's one of the bottlenecks. What are some of the other crazy bottlenecks that you're like a doctor who goes in and be like, okay, this part is the sick and we need to operate, we need to remove the tumor? Are you suggesting, what are some of the crazinesses that you're seeing without naming any names? Stephen, I know you're watching and your business is falling apart. Call Will immediately. No names.
Let's talk, whoever you are, Stephen. There's one person I know who he's working 100 hours a week when it's in the busy season, and he's up at 3 a.m. putting quotes together. And when he's done with that, then he finally, sleeps for 4 or 5 hours, and then he's up and at it again.
Sleep. You are an advocate above all that we need to set a good sleep schedule, spend time with the family, the husband or wife, the kids. We need to the spouse, time with the in-laws, time with the hobbies. You are advocating that we need to live a balanced life, perhaps.
Well, a balanced life and a life with boundaries. Even as business owners need to set boundaries. Everybody needs to have boundaries for what they say yes and what they say no to. The reason why the people like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk has been so successful is because they didn't say yes to everything. And when you're working, 80, 90, 100 plus hours a week, what are you really doing to guard your time with? It doesn't sound like much to me. But yeah, there's a friend that I was introduced to a couple of weeks ago that he had mentioned his when his dad was on his deathbed, he said, "Don't miss your kids' games like I did." And that really took him for a shock, because he was heading in the same direction as his dad. And so he had to really reorganize his entire life. So now he's advocating, for father business owners, how to be involved in their family's lives and be able to get their weekends back and spend time with their family and everything. And that's we're pretty much going up the same mountain, slightly different paths. But the point is to be able to get your get your time back to spend it with things that are truly important for you.
You're telling me that the average business owner gets so sucked into whatever they're doing that they just can't even go to that daughter's soccer game or go have a tiny hour a week to hit the gym or something. You're talking nothing.
Yeah, oftentimes that's something has to give, and sometimes when when you're running a business and you have employees underneath you, that a lot of times there's going to be those business owners that have to make that hard call, and some of them are missing out on that soccer game like you mentioned, or missing out on daddy daughter date nights, or fathers with their wives and vice versa, wives with their husbands. Husbands with wives with husbands.
Yes.
And it's sometimes they take that hard call, and because they know that if their business stops growing and being productive, then it's going to affect not just their family but a lot of other families also. So yeah, you're absolutely right with that.
Okay, I've been married 11 years. We'll see if it makes 12 at the rate I'm going. I'm feeling everything you're talking about, because my wife is always like, we're going to Canada's Wonderland, or we're supposed to go on vacation, or we're doing this today, and I'm like, I can't. And she's like, this is the 1,000th time you're sitting in your basement with the podcast and with the paddeds and with all these meetings after meetings. And maybe it's not as severe as other people, but how are we supposed to balance everything? There's always, I'm not running such a huge company here, but there's always a headache. There's always a fire to put out.
Yeah, there's always something.
What magical equations have you perfected, a wizard? How are you able to come in and tell everyone that? Is it a scheduling thing? Is it a mental health thing? Is everyone completely insane? Is it a religious thing? What sayest thou?
Well, it's a little. So the idea, or the expression anyway, is a rising tide raises all ships. When you're able to get one part of your life together in such a way that benefits you, then the other parts of your life, whether it's financial, business, personal, family, spiritual, it's all interconnected. And so what we're doing is we know that one business owner can't do everything. There isn't enough hours in the week sometimes for that person to take on all the responsibilities, and so they need to hire someone, right? So a real estate agent probably would rather be showing houses and scheduling people to come in and talk with them, rather than doing the transaction coordinating and making outbound phone calls. And so instead of hiring someone locally, we're saying, hey, why don't you hire someone who has the same skill levels, has the same, has what you're looking for the job, and outsource it to what I like to call a remote professional who's over in the Philippines.
Oh, let's open up this can of worms, if you will. We should be outsourcing to a virtual assistant, not an AI. You're not saying like an AI.
Not AI. No, that's
you're talking about.
We can have another podcast about that.
No, that's different crisis. Is there something really? What's so great about having that, can we say, virtual assistant in the Philippines or somewhere in Southeast Asia, if you will? Mm-hmm. What are some of the great tricks of the trade that you've learned and that you're passing along to others, where, hey, grab that virtual assistant and and you don't have to pay them $1,000 an hour.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's really any tricks of the trade, but I'd want to say that there's a lot of companies that are more than happy to hire someone locally, and that's totally fine. If they want a generalist, for example, and I don't know what the average is, like $4,000 a month, which is totally fine. You can do that. you know, there is benefits of having someone locally, having someone come in and things like that. But there's also benefits that a lot of owners might not realize with hiring someone overseas. One of them is, instead of $4,000 a month, it's closer to you know, like $1,200 to $2,000 a month, depending on what they're doing. But the thing is that when you open up the talent pool to an international level, you get international competition. And so, yeah, you could hire someone locally or an agency to do social media for you. And I don't want to calculate, you know, how much that might cost a business owner to do that, or you can get the same type of experience, same type of professional level and skill set for much less than what you'd be paying for an agency.
Okay, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, if you will, here. So we should be hiring virtual assistants, but trained
Yeah.
for the business owner, trained for the one who's overwhelmed that they can't even play with their daughter for 20 seconds, God forbid. And then we can buy back our dreams. I'm reading from the website. Wink, wink.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, you can. Yeah, so I mean the idea, and I think you really hit the nail on the head there with what you just said. You can find a virtual assistant who's trained. You know, almost all the time we have a really big pool of applicants who are interested in being a VA over there. And so we are able to take the cream of the crop for talent and skill set wise. They have 4 year degrees from university. And most of the time they're all basically corporate trained. They're already doing what they want to be doing. The thing is that they'd rather be a virtual assistant, because when you're working for a corporation for $1.25 or $1.50, or you could be doing a virtual assistant for somebody here in the U.S. who's looking for someone who speaks English for, on average $4 an hour. It's a dream come true for them. And over here, there's a lot of benefits that you get for the quality of work that you're getting, and it's the economies of scale works both ways. It's a benefit. It helps them out there, and it helps the business owners out here out.
$4 an hour. Now that you've piqued the interest of all the Jewish audience members or Jewish viewers, $4 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! I think I earned that as an 8-year-old sorting baseball cards. People are working for $4 an hour. American.
Yeah.
Mazel tov. Oh my! Why don't we outsource everything? What the hell?
Well, yeah, well, like I said, there are some business owners who want to keep it local, and that's totally fine. And for those who are wanting to get a little bit of a growth in their business and scale a little bit quicker, then this is a really good way for them to do that.
As you're talking right now, humorously, I got a 2-year-old ripping up my basement and whatever, which is itself a mess. Do I need a virtual assistant immediately because my life is all over the place and I'm a crazy, confused individual? What else are we really saying here? Oh my God, $4 an hour. That alone is the you yourself, how many VAs, virtual assistants, are on your roster? You have like a baseball team. Amazing.
Well, I'm not going to get into numbers.
Okay, sorry.
I can easily reach out to my team and say, hey, I have a conference coming up in a couple of weeks, and they help me go and put together a roll-up banner and a 2-pager that I can go and bring with me. I can go, I'd have it printed out, and they'll go and bring it with me. I mean, I'll bring it with me to there. I have my own personal coach from over there that helps me with setting the strategy for, for a couple months at a time and making sure that I'm hitting my goals and things like that. It all just depends on what's needed. You may or may not need a virtual assistant. I don't know. I mean, that's a whole conversation in and of itself. But if you're thinking, hey, I could see the benefit of this, then, we can certainly have that conversation.
Fascinating. And someone's watching this right now and they're curious. What's your website again?
Yeah, it is scaleforceva.com.
Can I share my screen and we can look at your website right now and jump into it?
Absolutely.
That's the new way things are going these days. Everyone's okay. We're going to scaleforceva.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, the .com. Yep.
Okay, so I read it before. Hire virtual assistants trained for your business so you can buy back your family or a sanity. Oh, I love that, changing dreams. Oh my God, fascinating. And we got the fascinating.
There's so much more. Yeah. And so we can find people for over 55 positions. It's not just a executive assistant. It's not just a sales outbound sales call person, or it's not just a calendar. Get people on my calendar. It's a whole lot of other things also.
And we booked. Well, one can just literally click up here, grab a Calendly link right here, and hop on a call.
Yeah, you can book a call. So I've pretty much taken the idea of outsourcing your time and everything, and hiring other people to do that. I'm outsourcing that call with team members who are they're US based, and for that part of it, for that conversation. But they're here in the US. I've outsourced it to a company called Sphere Rocket. And so I practice what I preach, and they do the fulfillment side of things, and they do a very wonderful job. And the best way to get to them is through looking at my website and seeing, shameless plug, of course. And if there's something that you're thinking, hey, I need to hire someone for something that I hate doing, I don't like doing it, it's not my skill set, wheelhouse, whatever you want to call it, then just go to my website and book a strategy call, and then you're off to making things a lot easier in your business and in your life.
I saw, is that like almost 1,000 Google reviews? This is not day zero. How long have you been in this beautiful creative space of finding virtual assistants and making those matches for business owners to get back their sanity and go to their daughter's soccer games? Everyone listening, go to your freaking daughter's soccer games and your son's hockey games, or wherever sports are going on. What's wrong with people? How long have you been doing this?
So I actually had done this several years ago with Sphere Rocket. So they started in 2020 around COVID. Unfortunately, that was that black spot that we won't mention again. And since in the last 6 years, I actually worked with them for a little while. And a little over a year ago, they said, hey, Will, we'd like to work with you again. Let's figure out a way how to do this. And since the beginning, they've placed over 12,000 remote hires into over 5,000 businesses. So, and that's why, like I said, they do I've outsourced that part to them, because they're really, really good, and they know how to do it in a way that you can hire someone in 7 to 10 business days. It's that quick. So
10 business days.
Yeah. And look at a business owner who's really busy working 80 hours a week. And do you think that, a lot of them probably don't have time, maybe they do, but they probably don't have time to write down an advertisement and get it out there and go through all the candidates and vet them themselves. And, that could take anywhere from several weeks to several months, depending on how busy they are. We'll do a white glove vetting process in 7 to 10 days, and we'll say, hey, here's 5 or 6 candidates. Let's have you hop on a one-on-one call with each of them, and you can choose which one you think is gonna be best for you and your business. And that's within 7 to 10 days. Typically, there's some positions where it might be like a cybersecurity expert, where they might take a little bit longer just because of how specialized it is. But typically, you're looking at 7 to 10 days. We're doing all the like a white glove vetting process that we'll do for the business owner and take care of everything.
Oh my God. And this goes across sales and secretarial work, everything to office help, to marketing materials, to video editing. This is $4 an hour for George Washingtons. Almost an
that's what you're paying the VA. On average is $4 an hour. Yeah.
Why are we hiring people who are millennials, who are brain damaged, or sorry to use the wrong words? What's wrong? Why would anyone hire anyone 30 and under who's brain damaged and is terrible and happens to be American and is lazy? Is that where the world's going?
When prices go up on everything and people have to tighten their belt, so to speak, especially business owners, it's either something like, paying somebody $4 an hour, or paying, which is, $640 a month for them directly, or, and I have to put a caveat on that, and I'll do that in a moment. Or you can pay someone $4,000 a month, who's a generalist who lives, maybe it's the neighbor's son or daughter next door, and you have to go and train them up, and you have to also pay for insurance and workman's comp and all that other stuff, which is added on to that $4,000. Or you can hire someone in the Philippines for on average $4 an hour, and which goes to your bank account, to their bank account. There's also for a full-time employee, full-time virtual assistant, 48 hours a week. There's a $600, you can call it a maintenance fee or a support fee that goes directly to the company. And that's with that you get ongoing 20 hours of free training a week if you want to do that, or you can have your virtual assistant jump in there and do that. You can have there's over 500 hours of training videos. You get your own, you can call it a customer success manager. Your VA gets a customer success manager, and there's a whole lot more that you get for that $600 a month that you're paying, to the corporate side. So we split out the payments, so you know exactly how much the VA is getting, instead of paying $2,000 a month to the company, and the VA is getting maybe 20% of that, and who knows where the rest of that's going. You know exactly how much you're getting. It's that's averages out to a little more than $1,200 a month, and you get so much more than a lot of other agencies, and you'll get so much more than having to train the person next door, or going with an agency where you're paying a lot more, which then makes it more difficult to really grow your company for what you're from that aspect.
Oh my God. Okay. What a sales pitch. Oh my God. And insurance, health insurance or workman's comp. Yeah, you have to. Anyone who's done a payroll, anything, or seen behind the curtain, there's always stuff you got to pay extra, and then they complain, and then you got to buy lunch,
Yeah,
or a
and then you
chair
got to
that
pay them
doesn't have
for it.
duct tape on it. The VA, you don't have to worry about this and the extra office space to sit them and the stupid little leather chair they're going to sit in while the complaining millennial who does nothing anyway and is on their phone. The work ethic is better in the Philippines anyway.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So here in the U.S., the four main, in my mind anyway, the four main things that kids want to be when they grow up, well, maybe five now, uh, doctors, lawyers, sports athletes, influencers, whether it's TikTok or whatever the next thing's going to be, and maybe astronauts. That seems to be a really big thing right now too, right? Their dream job over there is to be a virtual assistant in the Philippines. That's, to them, that's where the money's at. Their culture is set up to be a service culture as it is, and so a lot of them, because they have that corporate background and the university training, there are people that I've met out here that have virtual assistants from the Philippines and saying that I got a VA and she could probably run my company better than I could.
Oh my God. And let's unpack this in the Philippines, the service culture, the desire to be the virtual assistant. We don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about someone usurping us. You don't have to worry about information leaking out on stupid Facebook posts. You don't have to worry about that bad review on Glassdoor or some employee disgruntled that they're not running the company yet. This is reliable people
Mm-hmm.
who are happy to fulfill the job in a service culture with reduced, insurance or workman's comp needs. Plus, the salary or hourly wage is a lot less. Plus, they're available in 7 to 10 business days. I feel like I'm on an infomercial here for some fancy household appliances.
But wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more. Oh, after the go on. What else? More?
Yeah, so, well, you mentioned business hours, right? So
Yes.
they know. I mean, they're working for conglomerates and corporations from all over the world. So sometimes their hours are going to be whatever set by the company, and they totally get that. So when there's a business owner over here who says, "Hey, I'm on the East Coast. I want you to work 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern," or maybe it's, "I want you in my emails an hour earlier so that when I come in, we can hop on a 15-minute call and you can give me the rundown of what I need to pay attention to." They'll work those 9 hours, for $4 or more, because that's, to them, $4 is a pretty good living over there. I know some VAs that are getting $9, $10, $11 an hour, and that's enough for them to be able to build a 2-story house next to where they live for their mom and dad.
The mentality of the compensation and how it fits into one's life in a far out there in a different part of the world, plus the time zone difference, solves so many challenges, puzzles, if you will. Why isn't everyone calling you immediately, or are you booked to death and you need a VA just to go through your Calendly?
Well, the nice thing is a lot of things that you can delegate, which allows me to be able to have time to be able to hop on podcasts like this and meet you in networking events, which, for a lot of business owners, is how they get more clients and customers. And so if they're doing all the everyday type of stuff, the day-to-day things that they probably shouldn't be touching, instead of doing the networking side of the business, for example, then, it's, to me, it's a no-brainer. When you put everything together, when you're starting to put those pieces of the puzzle together for what we've been talking about, it goes from an impossible puzzle to a possible puzzle, and it just helps in so many in ways that a lot of, like I said, a lot of business owners just need that eureka moment. And I'm out there just trying to give them a glimpse of what it can be. of what that would be like for them. So there is an expression that I read earlier today. Like I said, I like to go on Facebook and get inspiration for what I want to post about or whatever. You know, someone I don't remember her name. She posted, "One life, just one. Why aren't we running like we're on fire towards our wildest dreams?"
I just have to repeat that for my own sanity here is why aren't one life? Why aren't we on fire?
Why aren't we running like we're on fire?
Why aren't we running like we're on fire towards our wildest dreams?
Yeah.
Okay, one among a couple stones left unturned in this juicy discussion here. I keep hearing all this AI agent this and Anthropic this and Lovable this and tools like this. What's your perspective on the AI agent, AI assistant versus the virtual assistant?
Yeah, well, there's definitely pluses and minuses for both of them. And so I see that AI is getting better right now, though. As someone else had put it, that AI is kind of like that business intern that you hire that kind of knows what they're doing, but they don't have the experience behind them. And for AI, with me I use ChatGPT, and I can feed it a whole bunch of stuff as to what I'm wanting to do and where I want to go with my company and things like that. But you know, when I sit down with a friend who has 10 years of experience with, you know, whatever, you know, that whatever it is, whether it's social media management or it's you know, it could be someone who has 10 years of being a coach, they're going to be able to put pieces together from their experience that AI isn't able to do yet, because AI, you have to go and put all that information in to whether it's GPT or anything else, Gemini or Claude or whatever. And so you have to build that into it to be able to get those type of things back. And right now, if you just open, it's kind of like, you know, open up a box and something's brand new, right? You have to go in with ChatGPT, you have to go and put all that information in. And if you're putting all that information in, then you're not doing something, there's something else that you're dropping. And so, you know,
Yes.
let's go and
Yes.
shortcut that. You know, let's go and find someone who has, you know, the experience, has that skill set, and they can own that for you.
Totally. Okay, fascinating here. There's so many things running through my mind. The minute you said $4 an hour, I think that has a funny ring to it. I'm literally thinking like, how much does it cost for like a coffee at Starbucks? What companies or types of industries, businesses, companies, projects, if you will, are you feeling are really jumping on the VA virtual assistant, that lady in the Philippines, if you will? What kind of businesses are jumping on the VA bandwagon at this juncture?
There are a lot of industries, a lot of companies. I don't have somewhere I have a list of I'd have to go and look for it. I have a list of like 50 industries. And some of the main ones are coaches and consultants. I mentioned real estate earlier. That's a really big one. There's whether it's residential or corporate, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, coaches, consultants, e-commerce businesses, health businesses, kind of some of those individual, holistic practices, for example. You know, get a little bit more specific into that. But
let's get into that. Yeah, let's get back a little bit.
Yeah, what we've noticed though, whether it's someone, you know, who needs a holistic, who does a holistic practice, maybe they need someone to confirm appointments and make sure that everyone who's been in before is getting rescheduled for their next appointment, or maybe it's been a couple of years. It's like, yeah, hey, we'd like to have you back. I'm paraphrasing the entire conversation, of course, because I'm not a holistic doctor, having those conversations. But I mean, essentially, it's let's get you rebooked on the appointment, see how things are going for you. You know, what we've not. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just thinking that like it doesn't have to be so cut and dry, even like a secretary who's helping respond to emails in real time or calling up or setting up bookings, or it can even be a real estate agent who is overwhelmed with lead generation and needs to do some outreach, or a small business that is behind on their marketing and video work and they need to pump out more content. You're talking here like many different use cases, many different industries, yet, as we said, a reliable person who's service oriented, who is happy. This is like almost a perfect job for them. It's like the secret of, good management and leadership is the right people in the right seats at the right time. And here we don't have to deal with that. Oh, I need a co-founder. I hear a million times, oh, if only Michael, who will be my co-founder? I'm like, who will be the investor? I'm like, well, you don't have any expenses, then you don't need to sell your tuchus, sell your butt to some investor. You could just get an assistant for $4 an hour to handle this. You don't need to hire your wife's brother and make sure that he gets $70,000 a year. Yeah. We should be doing what's resourceful. This is about being resourceful and about finding the right people for the right seats. And these are happy people able to help you. They're not going to maybe be in a leadership role or doing the podcast and doing the networking. They might drum up. They could. Of course they could. Of course they could. And then any business owner or product developer or anyone who has so much more to do than they have time for, you have to get help. Otherwise, you're insane. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think so. And that's why, I really like making this change, helping business owners make that change in their lives, because it really empowers them, to really understand what it means to run, like I said, to run like they're on fire towards their wildest dreams. If their wildest dreams are, hey, I want to be able to just have the company and be exited from everything but the main decisions of how to move it forward, so that I can take my kids around the country and around the world on and educate them myself, and go and see a whole bunch of historical sites and go on hikes and meet people from different cultures. Then if that's what their wildest dream is, then come talk to me. Let's see how we can get that started and make it easier and simplified.
Fascinating.
But one thing, we getting back to all the different industries, one thing that we noticed is whether it's a social media manager or an executive assistant, the tasks for that position are really just the same regardless of industry. And so that's why we're able to open everything up. That's why we have over 55 roles, is it's, regardless of whether, it doesn't matter, the role, the position is still going to be the same regardless of industry. So we're not stuck with choosing once, what one industry are you gonna help? It's like, we can help them all. A social media manager is a social media manager. It doesn't matter if it's for an e-commerce company or if it's for a real estate agent.
Yeah. This is amazing. This is awesome here. It sells itself. You don't you don't have to go on a podcast for 45 minutes to explain all this. Maybe we have to for the first eye-opening, awareness moment, if you will. To me, the biggest thing
I know that when we first met, we talked about this a little bit, was Henry Ford was on trial because he was like, you know, he's on trials like, you're not smart enough to be able to run this company. And so the lawyers are asking all these tough, difficult questions, either about, you know, math and science and whatever else. And at some point he got fed up and he basically said, look, I don't need to know all this stuff to be able to run this company. You know, I have a bank of buttons in front of me that when I have a question, I need to push the button to the right person and ask them, and they'll be able to give me that answer. And that's basically, in a nutshell, what he's done is what we're trying to do and help with business owners, is that they don't have to know everything, they don't have to do everything, but you know, they hired the right person and got them on the bus on the right seat so that they can go and so they can, whenever there's a question, you know, they're able to get that answer and be able to grow the company.
Oh my God. Okay. As you're saying this, I'm just literally reflecting in my own life, you know, 20 people telling me that I'm completely insane and horrible at sales, literal conversations of transparency. Mike, you're horrible at sales and you're terrible at business development, and no one understands the product or what it would be or how to sell it. And then I literally, on the computer next to me, I had to do a screenshot when we met last time of the Henry Ford quote. And I'm just, yeah. When he's asked on trial in 1919, the famous story, like you said, like, and it's showing that the lawyers, this is in the Chicago Tribune, over 100 years ago, in the Chicago Tribune, and the lawyers are trying to prove that Ford was uneducated and no idea, no engineering background or no strong understanding of business. And they tried to ask him random historical and factual questions. Time they're like, what do you know about this and this? And I'm like, I don't need to know. now, but today we do have it's on LinkedIn. And we have our clicky click over here, and we have another magical row of buttons like this.
And
an audio device. But the reality is today everyone has the magical Henry Ford electric push buttons on their desk to summon the experts. And if not experts, we just need a little marketing help, a social media manager, or we need a little bit of a time managing booking secretary assistant to help us. And there's people able, willing, happy, who won't usurp you, who won't stab you in the back, who aren't there today, you know, here today and gone tomorrow. And yeah, this would solve to all the small business owners and Jewish entrepreneurs I know, and their mothers. They have to answer to their 60 or 70-year-old Jewish mothers,
or mother-in-laws,
or mother-in-laws, or wives, or etc. There always is the how many hours are you working? How much money do you make? You know, head-on questions. If you have an ace in the hole, if you have someone across the seas on a small island who is very happy and supportive, they will therapeutically help you and resolve all your crises, child, spousal, parental. These are all the Jewish entrepreneurial boxes get ticked. Fascinating. I unfortunately,
I like how you put that. That's awesome.
I in the last minute we have you here before my computer overheats, any other final thoughts to throw in to inspire others to not to chase after their dreams and solve this challenge?
If you go, if you're at my website and you're finding something there, then, you know, click on that button to schedule a strategy call. If you're wanting to and I'll go and share the resource with you for a discovery call. If you're wanting a 15-minute discovery call just to see if it actually makes sense for you, you as in, you know, the audience, if it makes sense for the audience member to say, hey, look, you know, is this really something, you know, Mike, I'll go and I'll share with you my discovery call calendar link. and then people can go and schedule a call with me for 15 minutes, and we can go and talk about what your wildest dreams are and how we can, get you going in that direction.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. And you heard it here, and in the description below, you're watching this on YouTube. In the description below, we'll have we'll have your website link, and we'll have your Calendly link. I'll set that up, and we can pause over here, and that will be step 2 for those watching. Whether they know it or not, we all need an extra pair of hands. Confess, there's always more to do. Amazing. And we'll pause over here. Excellent.
Yeah.